right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on confident data-driven management with Time Doctor. Today, we're going to explore the importance of data-driven management in the modern workplace and show you how Time Doctor can take on the role of leader with time-saving features, real-time analytics, and employee-friendly options. Before we get started, just a quick intro from my end. So my name is Antonio, and I'm excited to be your host for today's webinar. I'm broadcasting live today from beautiful Northeast Ohio, right here in the US. It is warm, it is sunny, and summer is just around the corner, so we are super excited. Now, I've been with Time Doctor for just about 2 years now, and I help lead the customer success team here at Time Doctor. If you've spoken to anyone in the customer success team before, then you know that our goal is to ensure that you're getting the most value out of Time Doctor based on your specific needs. So hopefully you'll learn some really cool things today about Time Doctor and ideally take back some best practices so you can maximize your usage of Time Doctor. Now, I'll be honest, this should be a pretty easy one for me today because I truly believe and enjoy all the great benefits of remote work. I truly believe in our product, and I know that Time Doctor enables companies like yours to grow and scale remotely. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Whoops. All right, here we go. So here's what we hope to cover today. First, we're going to go through Time Doctor reports and the team dashboard to show you the most important insights and how to use them for data-driven decision making. Secondly, we'll walk through time-saving features for managers, such as email alerts and other tools to streamline managerial tasks. Next, we'll take a quick look at payroll and break management to show you how Time Doctor simplifies payroll processing and break management. And finally, we'll review some employee-friendly configurations that will help you create a positive and supportive work environment for your employees. But as always, before we dive right in, just a quick reminder of some webinar house rules. So first, you'll notice that your mics are muted, and this is intentional just so we can limit the number of distractions throughout the presentation and so we can wrap up on time. However, we'd still love to hear from you throughout the presentation. So for any questions or comments you have today, we ask that you please submit them using the chat function, and we'll be glad to answer those questions as time permits. Now that we've got those reminders out of the way, let's dive right into the good stuff. So our first section today will be a review of Time Doctor reports, and we'll go over Time Doctor reports to show you how to use them, and I'll be sharing some key takeaways. Now, these reports will help optimize productivity, monitor progress, and create a more efficient work environment for everyone. The Activity Summary Report provides insights into idle time and identifies the most active users based on keyboard and mouse activity. This allows you to better understand individual work patterns, and you can quickly identify and remove blockers. Further, this report shows the amount or percentage of active minutes, active seconds, unproductive time, manual time, and mobile time for each user over a selected period of time. This allows you to identify problems within your company and easily compare employees doing similar jobs. Now, one really cool thing that I love about the Activity Summary Report is you can quickly look for potential issues when you notice someone has a high idle time. So for example, when you notice someone has really high idle time, you can click on that person's name. Then it will open up a window for you to see where that idle time was spent. Now, this is a great way to confirm a few things. For one, I can verify if the idle time is high because that person was on way too many calls or meetings. Because let's face it, if they're in meetings, they normally have very little keyboard or mouse movement. Now, we consider ourselves remote work rock stars at Time Doctor, and unlike most companies, we don't like a ton of meetings. So if I see that my person spent a lot of time in meetings, I can have a conversation with them about reducing some of those meetings, and instead, we can work on asyncing more of those projects. Because we find that we're more productive when we async as opposed to hopping on calls all the time. So I can quickly intervene by reviewing the activity summary report and drilling down deeper into high idle time percentages when I see them. The attendance report documents adherence to work schedules, lateness, and absences. This information helps you manage attendance, ensure team members meet their obligations, and reduce the impacts of absenteeism on team performance. As you can see here, some of the nice features of this report is it shows you specific details for when employees are late or absent, and it shows all the time employees are working outside of their scheduled shifts. You can also filter this report to only show you employees that have schedules enabled and only show you employees who have been flagged as late or absent. Now, for most clients I work with, schedule adherence is extremely important. It ensures efficiency and maximum productivity, and it helps to guarantee a high level of responsiveness to help meet the service level agreements of many of my clients. The attendance report is one report that most of my clients find valuable because it provides those quick insights to ensure your team is rocking. The Hours Track report provides data on a collective number of hours worked by staff members. You can utilize this data to oversee overall hours worked, make well-informed staffing decisions, and guarantee optimal performance from your team. Now, as with most reports, you can view this report by the day, by week, by month, or for any specified date range you want. You'll notice that it's going to sum up all hours worked for the time period you select, but then I can also drill down to see how many hours were worked for each day. This daily view allows me to ensure a well-balanced work week for my employees, and if I need to, I can confirm where someone may have fallen short on their 40 hours for the week. Or on the flip side, I can see where all the extra hours came from if someone's working a lot of overtime for that week. Now, this report seems pretty simple and straightforward, and it is, but in my opinion, it all starts with first understanding how many hours each member of your team is putting in. If they're putting in the hours, you should see the productivity, but it all starts here with making sure people are showing up and putting in the hours that you need. Additionally, a lot of my clients use this report as a starting point for billing their clients accurately, and they also use this report to compare timesheets that are logged in other systems outside of Time Doctor. The Timeline report provides valuable information regarding the start and conclusion of workdays, as well as paid breaks taken during that shift. Throughout the workday, you'll be able to see the work intensity and patterns and the start and stop times for your employees. You can also use this data to enhance scheduling, gain deeper insights into your team's work habits, and maximize productivity by identifying the most effective hours throughout the day. So, a few things to remember about the Timeline report. First, it works very similar to the activity summary report in the fact that you can drill down deeper into specific time blocks to get more insights into what your team is working on. So if you have questions about what they were working on for so long during a specific time block, you can see exactly where that time was spent. Clicking on the time blocks within this report would take you directly to their web and app usage and also show you screencasts for the work that was being done during those times. Secondly, if team collaboration is important to you, then this report will show you how well your team is available to each other. You'll be able to line up the online time to ensure that your entire team was available and working together at the same time. And if there's a weak link in the crew, you'll be able to easily identify who potentially is not pulling their weight and who wasn't available to their team when they needed them. Lastly, one new feature you may notice in the Timeline report is our new breaks feature. In the past, whenever users would take breaks, they would have to pause their Time Doctor application or simply time out on them after a certain amount of time elapsed. This will lead to huge gaps in their timeline where you couldn't easily determine if a user was on a paid break or if they just stepped away for a long period of time. With the breaks feature, you can easily see when your users are actually taking paid breaks, and this is going to help tremendously with ensuring your team is taking the appropriate breaks and adhering to any internal policies or laws that require workers to take specified breaks throughout their workday. The web and app usage report displays user productivity and identifies potential distractions by tracking time spent on productive and unproductive websites and apps. Use this information to address potential productivity challenges, guide coaching conversations, and ensure your team stays focused on the task at hand. Now, as we take a deeper look at the web and app usage report, you'll notice that you can view this report in a few different ways. You can view your entire team and compare where your performers are spending their time. Or if you want to, you can drill down deeper to see exactly what specific documents or URLs they're visiting and also how much time they're spending on each website and app. You can also switch your view to get a full list of websites and apps by category, and then you can easily scroll through that list to see how much time was spent on each one of those websites and apps. Now, one thing that I always mention to my clients is that this report can be extremely helpful or can be a huge distraction. The key to making this report extremely helpful is to ensure that you're managing your productivity ratings for websites and apps. So it paints a clear picture of whether your team was spending time on unproductive websites and apps, or they were truly spending time on productive websites and apps. For this report to be truly impactful, your productivity ratings should align with your company's goals and KPIs for the teams that you're managing. So, for any websites and apps that truly lead to more productivity and directly contribute to hitting KPIs, those websites and apps have to be marked as productive. If it's a website or app that could be a digital distraction, or if it doesn't directly contribute to all your team's KPIs, then make sure you mark it as unproductive. Otherwise, you'll never get a good representation of how much time your team is spending on the right websites and apps. The projects and tasks report shows the time spent by users on specific projects and tasks, helping you monitor progress, manage project deadlines, and allocate resources effectively. This report enables you to identify bottlenecks and optimize your team's time allocation for better project outcomes. Now, this report can be viewed a few different ways, and use a few different ways. And one of the most common ways that some of my clients use it is to configure your project to represent the clients that you're working for and the tasks to represent the specific projects for that client. So this will help you identify how much time is being spent for your specific clients so you can build them accordingly and also reallocate resources if you're not meeting client deadlines. One thing to note about this report is this is where you see the power of our Chrome extension integrations. As you may know, you can enable our Chrome extension and it will enable integration with over 60 different websites and apps. What this does is it provides a start and stop timer directly within the website or app you're using. And once you start using it, it's going to populate the time spent for that specific website or app directly in the projects and tasks report. So this could save your users time by using the timer directly within that web or app, and it also provides more detailed projects and task reporting. The Internet Connectivity Report tracks internet connectivity issues, allowing you to identify and address any technical challenges that may be impacting productivity. This report will show you details of when employees were offline due to internet connectivity issues so you can confirm productivity blockers and hopefully minimize downtime as needed. As you can see here, this report will show you a timeline for each employee, and it specifically breaks down how much of the total time tracked was categorized as time tracked offline. Further, if someone is consistently having internet connectivity issues, you can click on that person's name directly within this report, and it will open up a window that shows all the times when that person lost internet connectivity. Now, the great thing about Time Doctor is that our application stores data locally first, then it sends it to your web application continuously throughout the day. So if someone loses connectivity, you can rest assured that if they continue working, that data will be captured and sent to your Time Doctor dashboard as soon as they reestablish connectivity. So a quick story here, when I worked in a call center back in the day, I can't tell you how many times people would make up issues that they would call technical issues that prevented them from working. It's a true story, those people do exist. But if we had the internet connectivity report back then, we would have been able to see without question when those people truly lost internet connectivity, which would have truly prevented them from working. This report is great to monitor those potential issues and to confirm those times when someone wasn't as productive as they could have been based on the issues that were potentially out of their control. And with that, we have our first poll question of the day. So we'd like to take a few moments throughout these webinars to ask you some questions and take a quick poll. And the first one today is, how important do you think the breaks feature is to daily work routine? So we'll give you just a few seconds to answer that question. We normally give a minute, but we'd love to hear your answers and feedback on this. I have an assumption on what I think it is, but again, the question is for you. So how important do you think the breaks feature is to daily work routine? A few seconds to submit your answers. All right, so we should be coming up on the answer here in a few seconds. And a little imaginary drum roll, please. Boom! There it is, just as I thought. Extremely important. I totally agree with the audience. The breaks feature is a great new feature, and hopefully you're finding some value in that. And if not, let us help you with that. But I agree with the audience. Extremely important. Thank you so much. All right. So we continue on. In this section, we'll give an overview of the important widgets on the team dashboard and show you how to utilize the data for data-driven decision-making and improving performance. I'm going to show you how you can quickly view active team members, top performers, productive days, potential distractions, and schedule adherence concerns. Now, the team dashboard provides real-time information, making it simpler to notice trends, address problems, and acknowledge achievements. So the goal here is to provide you with some quick insights and save you time so you can find the answers and alerts that you need when you need them. At the very top of the team dashboard, you'll notice an overview section. In this view, you can see a snapshot of key information that can be helpful as you manage Time Doctor usage for your team. Notice that the data slightly changes depending on which time period you've selected, and in this case, we're looking at a weekly view. So in this view, I can not only see total time tracked, but I get a quick understanding of what percentage of manual time and unproductive time has been tracked from my team during this week. I also have a quick view of what projects and tasks my team is working on for most of the week. And I can do a quick spot check to see how many total users are tracking time, and of course, how many users have not started tracking time. This information is important to ensure that your team is tracking time as they should and working on the projects and tasks they should be working on for that week. As we scroll down, we get to the latest data section, and the first widget here is the currently working widget. This shows you what's currently happening, which means who's online, who hasn't started, and some recent screencasts if you have that enabled. Now, I always say that this is very similar to a manager walking up and down the aisles to see who's available and what they're working on in real time. Below that, you'll see a widget that can be configured to call out which employees started after a certain time, and in this case, it shows all employees that started tracking time after 9:05 a.m. So you can see who's gotten a late start to their day. To the right of that, you'll see a didn't start work widget, which, as it states, identifies which employees have not started tracking time for that day. And here, you can verify if someone is called off sick, is on PTO, or may be running late to personal issues by verifying this and confirming what you may have received from them by text, Slack, email, or however they may have reached you. Below that, you'll notice the recent screencast section, which, as the name suggests, provides a quick real-time view of recently captured screencasts for your employees. Now, this will once again provide a quick view of what your team is working on in real time for that day. The next few widgets fall under the Trends and Top Users section of the dashboard. Now, this shows your top employees in terms of productivity, hours tracked, and activity levels. Keep in mind that each one of these widgets is directly linked to a Time Doctor report, and you can access those reports directly from within these widgets. Aside from that, you can also click on the employee's name in each one of these widgets if you'd like to further analyze their specific data. All of these widgets are a great starting point as you identify both positive and potentially problematic trends, and when you need to, you can drill down deeper to get deeper insights that will help you make decisions and have the right conversations with your team. The last section of the team dashboard is the Websites and Applications widgets. This is where you can view the top used productive and unproductive websites and apps that your team has been spending time on. By viewing this weekly, you can ensure that your team is spending their time on the most productive websites and apps. And on the flip side, you can see what websites and apps are draining productivity for your team. If you notice that a website or app isn't being categorized properly, for instance, if Facebook is showing up in this section as one of the top used unproductive websites and apps, but it truly is productive, then you can configure Facebook to be marked as productive in your productivity ratings. Then, the next time you view these widgets, you'll notice that Facebook appears on the left side as productive. And overall, your team will have a more accurate view of time spent on productive websites and apps. As I mentioned before, if you want further information on these top used websites and apps, you can always click on the link for the Websites and Apps report to get more information on where your team is spending their time. Next, we'll review some time-saving features in Time Doctor, and specifically, we'll discuss our email notifications, which essentially are automated alerts that will deliver relevant data for your team directly to your inbox. These features save you time and help you stay informed, allowing you to focus on more strategic aspects of your role. Now, there are two types of email notifications available in Time Doctor, and they are daily email notifications and real-time email notifications. Daily email notifications would typically be available at the start of your manager's shift, and managers will receive one email with all the alerts for the previous day. You can trigger daily notifications for the following conditions: low productivity alerts, which can be based on time spent on unproductive websites and apps; low activity alerts, which can be based on idle time percentages; work-life balance alerts, which can be based on total hours worked; attendance alerts, which can be based on workers that didn't adhere to their shift; and time editing alerts. And this is for all users that have added manual time if you're allowing that. So a quick example of how I'd use this: if I'm managing a support team and it's important for my team to be highly responsive, I'd be concerned if some of my employees are spending too much idle time throughout their day. So to help manage this, I'd start with identifying what is an acceptable idle time percentage for my team. And in this case, I found that anything above 15% idle time could be problematic. I would then schedule a daily notification that would alert me of all employees that had more than 15% idle time for the previous day. Then, when I receive my report, I can dive deeper into Time Doctor data to see what they were spending their time on during those idle time blocks for the previous day. If the idle time was racked up because they were struggling to find the answers to help them troubleshoot, then I know that we need to provide more coaching and resources to help them quickly resolve issues for the support team. If I find that high idle time is simply due to an employee slacking off, then I can intervene immediately the following day to ensure that it doesn't happen again. So whether it's idle time or productive time or alerts pertaining to schedule adherence, make sure to schedule some email notifications that will save you time by delivering key alerts to your inbox daily. Real-time email notifications are sent promptly once the specified conditions are met, and most of these notifications are related to schedule adherence, as you can see here. So for real-time notifications, the options are the user added manual time, the user didn't start working, or the user didn't start their shift. So if you're managing service levels that require your team to be available at the start of their shift, then set up these real-time notifications because they can greatly benefit you, and they'll deliver those alerts in close to real time as possible. Now, since releasing these, we found that our real-time notifications are a great feature for our BPO customers, as their clients have specific schedules that must be maintained. So these are perfect to help monitor schedule adherence in real time. So what they do is they set up these alerts to notify them when people haven't started their shifts so they can get ahead of it before their clients see the issue and reach out to them. Now, setting up email notifications is pretty simple. One important thing to note is that all managers, admins, and owners need to set up their own customized email notifications for themselves from directly within Time Doctor. They can choose the specified conditions that should activate the notification, and also select the users and days of the week for which it should apply to. So to set up email notifications, simply go to Settings, Email Notifications, click on the Create New button, and then a side panel, as you see here, will pop up where you'll create a name for the notification, select whether it's real-time or daily, select the condition, and then also select the users that it should apply to. When you click the green Create button, the email notification will appear in a list of all the email notifications that you're setting up, and emails will be sent to the email addresses associated with the Time Doctor account when those conditions are met. So as you can see, using this feature can greatly reduce the manual and tedious effort of rummaging through data and reports every day and simply delivering some key alerts to your inbox daily or in real time. And that brings us to our second and final poll of the day. So again, we're going to give you a few seconds here to respond to this. And the question is, how will this email notifications feature add value to your company? The options are significant value, moderate value, no value. So please take a few seconds here, think about it, and give us your feedback. All right, just a few more seconds and we should have some results here. And again, I'm hoping I know what it is. Let's see, little drum roll. Boom! Significant value. I agree. Again, it saves time. It just specifies specifically on some data that you need is important to you and delivers that right to your inbox so you can see and take action on those and have the right conversations and make the right decisions. So thank you so much, audience. Great answer, and I appreciate the feedback. Thank you so much. All right, so moving on. In this section, we're going to show you how Time Doctor simplifies payroll processing and break management, making these tasks more efficient and accurate for your team. Automating payroll reduces errors and ensures fair compensation, while break management promotes a healthier work environment. Now, the payroll workflow in Time Doctor allows you to export hours worked along with pay rates for any given pay period. First, you'll need to enable payroll in your company settings if you haven't done so yet. Please note that only the company owner can enable payroll and give payroll access to another user. Now, after doing that, you'll see a new menu item at the top called Payroll, and all you do is go to that page to configure and generate payroll. You can generate payroll at any time for any user and export it as a CSV file. This file can be imported into popular payment platforms like PayPal, Wise, Payoneer, Gusto, and ADP. It's a pretty simple and straightforward process, but if you'd like more information on how to use our payroll export, please visit our help center, and we have some great videos and articles that will guide you through that process in more detail. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we recently released our new breaks feature, and this feature can also help you manage your team's schedules and payroll. So with the breaks feature, you now have the option of allowing your employees to track paid breaks directly within Time Doctor. These paid breaks appear on the hours tracked and on the timeline report, and you can customize them for whatever type of breaks your employees should be taking. Once you set these up, your employees can choose the type of break they're going on, and that time will be tracked as break time within Time Doctor. You can now manage paid breaks more effectively and ensure your employees are taking the breaks they need to as often as they should be taking them. All right, friends, so let's get real with each other for just a moment, please, and let's be honest. Time Doctor is a great resource for many reasons, and we've talked about some of those reasons today. We provide some great workday insights. We pride ourselves on being remote work champions. So we love empowering you to help you manage your remote teams more effectively. However, we know that sometimes employees are not too happy that you're tracking their time and productivity. So with that being said, I'd love to share some best practices that may help make your employees more comfortable and feel more in control of what you're monitoring. So one of the best ways that you can make your employees feel more at ease with a time tracker is to specify when their time is being tracked. You can also disable the auto start feature so they feel more in control of when they're tracking their own time. If you're looking to build trust and provide more transparency, then we encourage you to share this policy with them so they know exactly when Time Doctor is configured to track their time by default. Now, some of the most successful clients that I work with have deployed Time Doctor in full transparency, and they've done a great job of communicating the whys behind the decision to use Time Doctor. They've sent this message and shared information about how Time Doctor is being used, and they fully embrace the change management that's necessary to deploy an application like Time Doctor. Another great way to get buy-in from not only your employees, but also your human resources or people ops team is to strategically decide how you plan on using the screencast function in Time Doctor. Now, most clients I work with love the screencast capabilities and they use them often for the whole trust but verify process. So, if one of your goals with Time Doctor is to help with security and compliance, then the screencasts are probably a valuable feature for you to have. Now, one of my biggest recommendations with screencasts is to make sure that you're configuring screencasts in a way that aligns with your company's values, but also make sure to use the custom configuration to select the appropriate screencast capture for your employees. You can fully customize a screencast so that you blur screencasts for a few teams, like a finance team or any team working on insurance documents. And outside of that, you can make screencasts fully visible for teams that are not working on sensitive documents. You can also customize how frequently you want screencasts captured for different teams, or you can choose to only capture them for certain teams or certain employees within your organization. So essentially, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach to screencasts. You have the power to control who you're capturing these for, and you can also control how frequently you want to capture them. The big takeaway here is there's enough customization and control to provide assurance to your leadership team and to your employees that you're using screencasts in a way that aligns with your company values and with your needs to trust but verify data only when you need to. Next, let's talk about work-life balance. So work-life balance and overall employee wellness are some major concerns that employers deal with in the modern remote workplace. Time Doctor's work-life balance widget helps you see which employees have potential issues with balance between their personal and professional life. Now, as you can see here, the work-life balance widget displays individuals with the highest potential work-life balance concerns according to your company's specified rules. Those rules can be configured to show you how many instances an employee has worked more than 8 hours, how many times they've worked late hours, and also how many times they've worked over the weekend. Now, this particular widget considers each user's time zone and presents issues specific to each user's time zone. So you can get a snapshot of potential work-life balance issues for your employees. So we've got a great story around this widget from our very own internal team, as well as one from our customers. In both cases, these managers were able to make data-driven decisions for their teams that would not only help with productivity, but also truly impact employee retention and satisfaction. You can find more information about the work-life balance feature along with these detailed testimonials on our website and blog. But essentially, the work-life balance widget and alerts are key features that will help make Time Doctor more employee-friendly for your organization. All right, so as we get close to wrapping up today's webinar, I'd love to go through a few more best practices that we've learned, not only from our clients, but also internally, as we've grown tremendously over the years into a remote work powerhouse. Now, these nuggets will ensure that you're fostering a productive work environment while also boosting your confidence that you're making the right and best data-driven decisions for your team. So the first thing we strongly recommend is the power of over-communication. Make sure that you over-communicate goals and expectations, and make sure you clearly document these along with all your essential processes in a clear and concise way. Make sure processes and expectations are available to anyone that needs them, and make sure they are impossible to misunderstand. If you're constantly being asked for clarification on something, then make sure you go back and update your process document so you can save time and help avoid costly mistakes. This not only applies to your internal policies, But also be very clear if you can on how you're utilizing Time Doctor and set clear expectations on how managers should be using it. Now, I can't stress enough how critical it is to over communicate in the remote workplace. Secondly, make sure to invest the time and effort into providing all the training guidance that your team needs. Our top priority as managers should be to ensure that we're setting our teams up for success. So use Time Doctor to help identify coaching opportunities. You can do this by analyzing the work patterns of top performers and providing all the guidance and resources to help replicate that performance with your entire team. And last but not least, try to avoid micromanaging at all costs. And please don't let Time Doctor push you in that direction. As I mentioned earlier, Time Doctor data can be extremely insightful, and when used properly, it can save you time and help you make better data driven decisions for your team. So, a few things to keep in mind. First, please know that 100% productive time is not a real thing in most cases. Your employees are people and they need breaks and a mental reset to avoid burnout. We all do. So there may be times in the day when they may visit unproductive websites and apps, and in most cases, it's totally normal. Second, it is also totally normal to have some level of idle time throughout the day. It's up to you as a manager to determine what that threshold should be, but the most important thing to remember is Time Doctor data should always be used as directional. It never paints a full picture of productivity, and it can provide you with great insights, but use those insights combined with other factors to tell the full story of your employees' productivity. Third, make sure to track and analyze your own work with Time Doctor if you can. You don't have to share this with your team, but this is going to provide you with some interesting insights into how you work throughout a normal workday. You're going to notice some idle time and productive time is absolutely normal, and you may learn a thing or two about how to better structure your workday so you can be more productive yourself. And then finally, always factor in the quality of work and output you're seeing from your employees, and this will paint the full picture of productivity. I always recommend first reviewing your output metrics outside of Time Doctor to identify your top performers, then taking a look at their activity level and processes within Time Doctor. When you do it this way, it may change your mind about where your team should be spending their time and how they should be structuring their workdays. And this brings us to the end of our presentation today. And one final reminder before we take questions is we have another exciting webinar scheduled for next week. And the topic will be Time Doctor's Innovative Journey. Leah Martin, our Chief Innovation Officer, will host this event from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And for our friends in different time zones, Jeff Ainsworth, our VP of Engineering, will host this from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. GST. I hope you can join us as we unveil our enhanced beta program and introduce our brilliant innovation team. You'll be among the first to witness 4 groundbreaking ideas that are going to revolutionize Time Doctor. So don't miss out on this transformative journey and register now to secure your spot. We're excited to have you join us. Today. So I want to thank you all for joining us. And before we go, we did save some time for your questions. So I'll take a quick look to see what questions came in, and I'll be glad to get some of those now. And for any that we don't have time to answer today, we'll be sure to follow up with you to make sure we answer those questions. So let's take a look at what we have. All right, Q&A. All right, so a couple things that came in here. Can you blur certain websites only? So the answer to that one refers to the ability to blur screenshots. And right now it's based on the user at a user level. And you can only basically blur all screencasts or not blur them at all. So it's basically a yes or no either way. So we don't have the ability to just zero in on specific websites to blur those based on the URL. Maybe something to consider in the future, but blurring screencasts and that function does apply to like a one or all approach. Okay. All right. Here's another question. In regards to idle time tracking, does that tracking start the moment there is no activity detected, or does a certain amount of time pass first before tracking of no movement starts? Also, where to find the internet connectivity report? Great questions. First, on the internet connectivity report, you should see it in your Time Doctor application. If it is not there, it may mean that you don't have it available as part of your package, and all you need to do is contact us. We'll explain if it's something that we can turn on based on your subscription, or if it's something that requires a more in-depth or advanced subscription. So contact us if you don't see it, but it should be in your reports. The idle time tracking. So basically, idle time starts tracking the moment there is zero keyboard or mouse activity. So no time has to elapse because idle seconds start right away. And anytime 60 seconds pass with no keyboard or mouse movement, then that's an idle minute. So there's no like leeway into that. It starts the moment there's no keyboard or mouse activity, and that's also represented in the activity summary report. All right. Next question. Let's take a look. I think we have time for one more here. So I'm going to go ahead and take what is the one best indicator of a person not working? Also, is the lunch counted measured by Time Doctor as idle time? So great questions. The paid breaks are basically their track time, and they appear in the timeline. And hours track report is track time and essentially paid time. That's what the name suggests. Okay. As far as the best indicator of a person not working, so that's a tricky one because there's no real one indicator because you probably want to verify in at least two or three other areas whenever you think someone's not working. If it's idle time and you see a huge period of idle time and you think they are not working during that time, again, right within the activity summary report, click on the idle time block that you're concerned with, and it's going to take you to the web and app usage report there. If I see that idle time was an hour or close to an hour, but they were also on an hour call, then I know they were working. They were just not active because they were listening or learning and just paying attention on that call. Okay, so there's not one indicator that way. Unproductive time the same way. If you see these times where there's a huge unproductive time percentage, click into that specific time block. It's going to give you a list of those websites and apps that were basically being used during that time, and then you can make the decision as far as what they were doing constitutes as them working or not. But again, just to answer that, there's no like quick one instance indicator where someone was not working. But great question. So last question, and then we'll have to wrap it up. Where's the trends and top users widgets? So it's on the team dashboard. If you access your team dashboard, you can view that. Make sure you're selecting like a weekly or monthly view, something beyond a daily view, and then you should notice it there. If for some reason you're still not noticing it, you can also edit the team dashboard. So maybe it's not checked off or enabled to view, but essentially it should be on the team dashboard in a weekly or monthly view. Take a look there, and if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be glad to help you out with that. So, great questions, guys. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap it up here. So, for any additional questions that we did not get to, we'll be sure to review those and find some way to contact you and answer those questions. We also have a great help center and a great support team available, along with your dedicated client success managers. So, please reach out to us if you have any questions that we did not answer today, or if you'd like further information, and we'll be glad to help you out. So, again, my name is Antonio. Thank you so much for giving me your time today, and hopefully we see you on some future webinars with us. Thank you so much and have a good day.